Texas police are desperately searching for a 19-year-old missing mom, Shonda Townsend. Shonda was driving home from a friend's house and sent a text message to her mother saying she was on her way. She never made it. Authorities found her ransacked car a few hours later in front of a residential home. The keys reportedly thrown across the street into a field. Cops searched the home and interviewed everyone in the area, but there's been no sign of the young mom. As Shonda's 2-year-old son waits at home, hoping for his mother's return, cops continue to search for Shonda, admitting foul play is likely involved. New details emerge in the case of a missing Texas mother who cops say has likely been the victim of foul play. 19-year-old Shonda Townsend was heading home after a day spent swimming and boating with friends at a nearby lake. She sent a text message to her mother saying she was on her way home. That was the last contact anyone has had with her. Cops say they located Shonda's car in front of a local home a few hours later, but no sign of Shonda. Investigators have reportedly given polygraphs, searched with cadaver dogs, reviewed surveillance video, and questioned everyone connected to Shonda or the location where her car was found, but have found no clues.
Joining us tonight, special guest Sergeant Brian Betts with the Mineral Wells Police Department, joining us from Texas. Sergeant, thank you for being with us. When you say the car...
Thank you.
When you say the car was ransacked, what do you mean by that?
Whenever we found Shonda's car, it was found with the passenger door open, the trunk open, and the radio missing.
So someone made it look like a theft?
Possibly.
And the keys were thrown across into a grassy field?
Yes, ma'am. Across the street from where the car was is a field. There was a gentleman mowing the day after, and he come across some keys. We were still doing a search of the area. He brought the keys to us. We, just on a hunch, brought the keys down to the car, and of course it fit the locks in the ignition.
Joining us from Houston, Joe Gomez. Joe, tell me what led up to her being declared missing.
Well, Nancy, by all accounts, this was supposed to be the perfect day for Shonda. She had left her 2-year-old baby boy with her mother. She was going to go boating at the lake with her friend, hot dogs, grilling out on the patio. Eventually the day wore on. It was getting late. Shonda was so responsible. She said, it's about time. It's getting late at night. I'm going to go home. She texted her mom. She said, Mom, I'll be home soon. But you know what, Nancy? She never made it home. Subsequently, investigators found her abandoned vehicle next to a crack house with the stereo ripped out of it, the car essentially gutted. Investigators have been scouring the area ever since, but Nancy, they found no trace of this beautiful teenage mother.
Back to you, Sergeant Brian Betts. Sergeant, I want to go back to that evening. Did she go to the party with a boyfriend?
All our information indicates that she was at Lake Bridgeport.
Yes.
She returned back to Mineral Wells between 9 and 10. At a friend's house here in Mineral Wells, and then at 11:50 p.m. we have video footage of her being at a Easy Mart in town, and that's the last known time that we know that she was in Mineral Wells, other than cell phone record.
So back to my original question, was she or was she not with a boyfriend?
No, ma'am. She was with family and friends, and then she come back to Mineral Wells with just a girlfriend.
Okay, and what happened to the girlfriend? Where did she go?
She left the girlfriend's house. That's where Shonda come to. When she come to Mineral Wells, she left her friend's house. Right before she left her house is when she texted her mother saying that she would be on her way.
So she was there at that, convenience store?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Out to Mark, class president and founder of Class Kids Foundation. Mark, what do you think?
Well, I think it's unfortunate that she was 19 years old because there are very few resources available for missing adults. Law enforcement believes that they are gone because they want to be gone. However, many of them may have faced foul play, which is probably what happened in this case. She did have everything to live for. She had everything going on in her life, and it just looks like somebody might have stalked her and done her bad.
Back to you, Sergeant Betts. What time was she spotted on the video at the convenience store?
11:50.
At night?
Yes, ma'am.
11:50 p.m. And you can see her leaving the convenience store. She was in the same vehicle. Describe the vehicle, please.
She wasn't in her vehicle. She was in her friend's vehicle. And then whenever they left the Easy Mart, she went back to her friend's house. And at that time, she texted her mom, told her she was going to be on her way, and got in her vehicle and was heading back home.
Oh, okay, got it. And what was she driving?
She's driving a 1997 Toyota Camry. The color of it is purple gray.
Okay, what can you tell me about Joe Gomez? What can you tell me about the father of the baby?
Well, right now, Nancy, the father of the baby is apparently in jail. We don't know exactly what he's been charged with, but he was in jail.
Well, you know
at
what?
the time
I guess
she went
that
missing.
clears him. Out to the lines, Mike in New Jersey. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Nancy. Can you ask the cop if they talked to all the people she was boating and swimming with that day?
What about it, Sergeant?
They've all been interviewed and all been given polygraphs.
Okay, unleash the lawyers. Eleanor Odom, Renee Rockwell, Peter Odom. Weigh in, Eleanor.
You know, Nancy, this is the scariest kind of case because this seems like a true abduction where maybe a stranger, somebody who had been watching her, actually takes her. So this is very scary, and the chances of her being found alive are very slim at this point.
The tip line, 940-328-7770. In cases like this, Renee, I guarantee it, they didn't take her far.
No, Nancy, and you don't know, somebody could have been in that car waiting for her at her girlfriend's house. It looks like a theft, but it's random, but it's violent. It just does not look good at all.
But typically, Peter Odom, in cases like this, it's not random. It's someone that knew her.
Well, there's random and then there's random, Nancy. It could be someone that had recently spotted her, that has started to follow her that night. It sounds as if the police really are doing all the things they should have done, interviewing the people in that concentric circle right close to her and then branching out, but it is not necessarily an acquaintance. It sounds as if the police have ruled that out.
To Dr. Bethany Marshall, random or targeted?
Well, I think of in terms of if a serial killer abducted her, probably the perpetrator was out trolling about looking for a suitable victim, and she fit his type. And so she was vulnerable, or if it wasn't someone at the lake, maybe it was someone in her best friend's apartment complex or in that neighborhood, but someone targeted her. So random in the sense that it was not someone she really knew, but not random in that that person may have been following her all day long.
If some type of DNA were found, Dr. Howard Oliver, say, in her vehicle, how could you match that up, or could you match that up to the database, the DNA database?
Yes, you would try to match it up to the database. Database contains DNA from many criminals, from military personnel, from government personnel, and hopefully there would be a match there. It's not necessarily so, however.
To Paul Benzone, you know, Paul, there's been a lot of speculation that this was a serial killer, but you know what? It could have just been dumb luck on the part of a criminal that had been watching her, or, as was suggested earlier, in that car waiting on her to get back. But I still say this is somebody that knows her, whether they've been watching her, whether they are in that apartment complex. She may not know them, per se, but they know her.
Yeah, you're exactly right. It could have been someone, for some reason, was drawn to her and felt that she was going to be the targeted victim. But you need to keep in mind, was it the abduction that came first and then the theft, or was it the theft that turned ugly and that's why she maybe was abducted and some worse harm came of her?
Shonda was driving home from a friend's house and sent a text message to her.
This show was pre-recorded, and based on the first segment about a husband who killed his wife with insulin, that happened around December 23rd. So I'm thinking that this show probably was going to air somewhere around the time that Jonathan Foster went missing and his body was found, because I can't see that this is recorded this week. But thankfully they have the information out on Shonda, because she's been missing since July.